My name is Martijn. I'm one of the founders of Frontier. We started the company way back in 2008, and we wanted to actually have a consultancy, but a different one. One where we could practice strategy and innovation, but using other ways to get there. So and my background is industrial design, and actually I'm using design practices now in my strategy business. Co-creation basically is how you put people together in order to come up with new stuff, but collaborative innovation is much more. It could be also collaboration between companies, or between a company and an institute, or it could be a sort of a whole new philosophy that you develop inside your company or organization. So collaborative innovation is much more. If you look at, for example, the Hyperloop, where Delft is part of, that's really collaborative innovation. So coming up with a new transport system, that's collaborative innovation. What we have seen over the last years, the last decade, is that actually problems become so complex and so multifaceted that you need really all kinds of perspectives in order to find a good solution. So back in the old days, you could have a designer, for example, that would solve a problem, and probably he or she was pretty much on target, hopefully. Right now, you see that solutions lie in ecosystems, in collaborations, in new technologies, span the globe, have many stakeholders, many customers, many technologies involved. So if you want to come up with the next big thing or solve your problem, then it is really necessary to really integrate other people and perspectives. And then the whole crux is then, how do you find these people and how do you make them part of a collaborative innovation process, and how do you organize that? Okay, so this is a case of a client. Client approached us exactly a year ago with the question, what is the future of mobility and what services can we offer? They were selling cars, they still do, but they see that the world of mobility and what people want from transport will change in the future, so also for employees of large companies. So the client came to us with a pretty complex challenge. What they also had was an agency. So collaborative innovation is not just having the end user involved or other people, but also partners in this whole development process, like an agency that can develop a brand or communication. What we then did was we took all of them actually to different startups to show them what is the future of mobility, of working, and what do people want in the future when they use cars, trains, automobiles, bikes, etc. What kind of services do they want and how do they want to pay for it actually? So we opened their eyes by showing them the world of startups that deal with this matter already and that can show sort of where things are heading. Then we had co-creation sessions where we involved experts in all different topics actually to come up with completely new concepts and services. And we validated it and co-created, let's say, extra items together with customers of our clients. So these were already having a relationship. So what happens is that actually all of them were involved in creating a solution that really worked, was round, and got all perspectives. And in the end, we created, it's called Shuttle, and it's actually something that's far less boring than what's currently offered in the market when it comes to mobility. So we create a brand, we create already ambassador customers for our client, we create a round concept, we had communication and an app, by the way, involved. And in the end, we have something that really is at par with what startups are also developing. So it's not something boring coming from a corporate, but it's really fresh and appealing. So we have had used this process actually to get this client who has many stakeholders on board as any large corporate. We got them excited for something really new. And now it's really being promoted internally and externally as a great venture for our client. So you can collaborate with the target group, and that's a very valid perspective to have. So you have, for example, leading edge users that already are very interested or have developed things themselves, and you can integrate them in your innovation process. But that's only one perspective. That's the perspective of the end beneficiary. What you usually should consider is the whole value chain that's part of this delivery of this solution. Collaborative innovation is done right by following the 3 golden rules. First of all, inspire participation. What does it mean? You have to have a challenge that is great and interesting and where people want to join, because otherwise there's no energy, there's nothing people can actually be part of, and the results can't be as exciting. So inspire them to participate. So it should be on the consumer, expert, stakeholder, partner level. Secondly, get the best perspectives on board. If you have a challenge that needs to be solved, you need to know who you want to have, who you need to find a solution, and in what way you want to involve them. The best perspectives also means have really good people. So open, creative, constructive, critical. Just an average person from the street won't do. So you need really great people. And thirdly, open up. So this is about the mentality. So you have to allow yourself to be, let's say, vulnerable, open to ideas from the outside, and also allow yourself actually to think or to accept the fact that other people could have very good ideas, and perhaps they could be your customers or partners or stakeholders, but why not let them actually inspire you, and hopefully you can also inspire others, and then great things will happen.